Hello people! Today let's talk about sins in group PvP. I am joined today by a fellow assassin on my server and Tricksha Elios called Itsmebisu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, dude. Thanks for asking. What up?
What we're gonna do today is go over every skill of Assassin and try and talk about how to use it and when to use it and get a little bit of insights on each and every one of them. So let's jump right in with Rune Carve and Sigil Strike chain. I use Sigil Strike in group PvP, I think you do as well.
Yeah.
It's a great chain, it's got 7-second CD which makes it very reliable to use on top of the fact that it can be used while moving and it can be used with extends. So pretty much every time it's up you can potentially use it.
Yeah, they are your main mobility skills, so you should always have those mapped on a fast key or whatever in group PvP.
Like, I don't know about you, but I always try to keep the runes up. Like, even if I just use Pain Rune and Binding Rune is on CD and Signet Silence is on CD, and I know that basically for the next 16 seconds I'm not going to be able to put a stun up, I always try and put at least the Rune Carve chain. So there's 2 runes, and if we ever switch to another target and switch back on it, then potentially it still has them and I'm ready to burst them, you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. But that would be on someone with, like, let's say, bodyguard or something on him that lasts for a couple more seconds, or simply just whenever he uses remove shock.
No, don't even need a bodyguard or anything. I just put them back up and, you know, either I'm eventually gonna burst them or I'm gonna switch to another target and I can potentially put more runes on that new target, hoping that when I switch back to the first one, it's still gonna have the rune up. And if it doesn't, then, well, too bad, but, you know, I don't feel like it's a waste because the skill has 7-second CD, so it just comes back immediately.
Yeah, definitely. They last long enough. Yeah, they last long enough to be building them on multiple targets, so...
Next one I want to talk about is the Fang strike chain. So the full chains put 3 runes up to level 5. One of the problems though is that it cannot be used while moving. I mean, you can slide shot it, but it's quite unreliable. I'm not a big fan of slide shotting and drop shotting in
Well,
group PvP.
slide shotting it is sort of unreliable because you've got a lot of factors like, let's say, your FPS or like when you're getting focused or whatever. I also actually only tend to use Fang Strike when I know that I'm like legit on top of the guy, so I can pull him back. Or simply just whenever you are already stun locking him, so he's like set in one spot that you can do multiple hits of the chain.
Yeah, I was gonna say I tend to use it when the target's in pain rune usually or in ambush. I mean when it's stunned basically, so I'm actually sure to have at least the 2 and possibly the 3 levels like just free to be casted.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that, but I do want to say that I only tend to use the first 2 hits and I skip out on Beast Swipe.
A bit of insight on that chain, it's basically hard to use it because you need to be exactly on top of the target. You can't use it while moving, but there is an effect that will be applied on your target, which will basically pull them back. It's a knockback effect that you can't, like, you don't get the knockback effect as in the knockback shock state, but you're being pulled back and you can't really do anything about it unless you've got some knockback resist. And you're basically being pulled back, but from the scene point of view, it's like you're kiting, you're being pulled back, and you're kiting again straight after. So the timing needs to be very precise as to when to use the second and the third chain of the skill if you actually can use them, because well, if the knockback effect is not applied, then the chances are by the time you catch up on your target, the chain will be off already.
Well, unfortunately, the third chain does not have that effect.
Oh really?
It is a long animation and it does not do the drawback. It's only Fang Strike and the second hit.
Okay, I didn't know that. It's interesting. I still think I mean, it's good to use it whenever you have it because, well, it's an extra level of rune. It's some extra damage.
Yeah,
The
definitely,
animation is a
definitely.
bit long though. It's quite retarded.
But the main problem is, let's say you want to have a shirting on your stun or something, and you're gonna build a level 5 rune. You cannot keep doing that with Sigil Strike because it only builds up to level 3.
That's true, but like unless I'm hitting on a cleric who might be in MR set, those are usually the only ones. Sometimes some enchanters are in MR, but that's pretty much it. Besides that, if I put a level 3 and I burst it, I usually have like the effect applied. If that is, I mean, you've got the Devonian weapon as well. I use it for
Yes, then you should,
magical
yes.
accuracy as well, just as a switch when I'm about to burst.
Yeah, neither do I. Ever since I've been using the Devonian weapon, I've never had issues on anyone not using an MR set, so...
Okay, next one is the Swift Death Chain. I believe you have the High Dever skill unlocked, which changes the possibility of the third chain proccing from 10% to 100%, so you basically have the third chain up all the time.
Yeah. Especially in group PvP, it is amazing to actually have that, because simply mobile skills are always going to be key for a Sin.
It used to have a retardedly long animation on top of not being able to be used while moving, and it now has a really fast animation, and you can use it while moving on top of like pretty good damage, and it carves a rune up to level 3. It's quite versatile. I like this skill.
I'm not quite sure if it builds up to 3 or if you can go all the way up to 5 with Rune Slash.
No, it's
Yeah,
it's one
it's
level
also
up
up
to
to
level
3.
3. It's just like Rune Carve.
Yeah, well, still, nevertheless, just as we talked about the Rune Carve chain, if you use your Sigil Strike Stigma and you use the High Deva Soul Slash, you will have a level 3 rune on your opponent while you've been mobile the entire time.
Yeah, true. That's also why I like to keep the Rune Carve chain up all the time. So there's always like at least level 2, and then it's quite easy to reach level 3. Either sometimes you can throw a Massacre, or you can use another Rune Carve 7 seconds later, or you can use that third chain, which is quite useful in that regard.
Yeah. Mobility is key, indeed, in group PvP as a Sin, definitely.